Well, hey guys, it's Thor's Axe, and I'm back. And as you can see, I thoroughly cleaned my frame, got all down inside there, and got that all brushed out and everything like that. Now, I didn't strip the frame completely down and take all the innards out or anything like that. That's really unnecessary. I just go ahead and knocked off the unburnt powder and stuff like that. Wiped it out really good. Anyway, so she's clean. Also did the same thing with the slide. You know, if you look closely enough, you probably can't see it because it's been worn, but old Dick Shockey, now he signed his name in the top of the slide right there. And this has been shot so much that it's actually starting to wear his name off. But if I put a thing on there, you can see it's still there. I could actually, take a Marks a lot and put it on there and then wipe it off, and you could see his name. But yeah, he marked his pistols right underneath there, right in the slide. Just to let you know. Clark Custom did the same thing. Clark did. So anyway, so let's put it back together. So anyway, now I was in a gun store 20 years ago. This is Lubriplate. This is the same stuff that you use for greasing up your M1 Grand, or you're doing your op rod or anything like that. This is what you use on it. This is actually really good stuff. It doesn't get much credit, but I'll tell you what, this is the stuff that works. It works really well. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open that bad boy up. I get something here, a prying device. Boy, you'd think I'd have stuff a little more handy here. Wait a minute. Not for sure. I've got one around here somewhere. Huh. Okay, well, we'll just let's try something else here. Okay, success. Alright. Now this is just a white lithium type grease. I don't want to get into a big discussion about, who makes the best grease. But as you can see, that's all it is. What I do is I take a little bit of grease. Sorry about the delay there. That was a lot of dead air space here. What I do is I take some grease and I put it on the rails right in there. Just go ahead and put it on the rails, You don't have to slop it in there. You don't have to have a whole bunch. You just all you're really doing here is you're creating a surface, for the metal, so that you don't have a total metal to metal contact here. Okay? And you don't have to slop it on there, okay? All right, that's one of the areas that you need to do. Another area that I put grease on, so I dab a little like that, and then what I do is I go right in there. Okay? And I put a little bit of grease on the dogs right here where it rides on the slide stop. Okay? Just like that. Alright. Okay, so lubrication 101, there it is. Go ahead and install the slide onto the frame. Boy, that baby's tight. Man, I'll tell you what, it's amazing to me to see that this pistol has went through as much as it has and as many matches as I've fired with it, and it's still, as tight as it is. Okay. Okay, just going to do this instead. Okay. All right. Now I've seen where guys have used like automotive, type greases and that sort of thing, for their guns. And you know what? I'm not going to be a proponent on whether or not that it works or it doesn't work, or it's a good idea or a bad idea. I'm going to tell you what, as long as you're putting some lubrication on there, that's all you really need. Now when the slide stop is in, okay, I rack it back to this back, and then you see that extra right there? I just take that off my finger, just put it on the barrel. Just take that little excess right there and just put it on the barrel. You just put a little bit of grease there on the barrel, keeping everything all lubed up. Okay. All right. Now, put it back in battery. Feel that? Just listen to that. Isn't that something? That thing locks up like a vault. I mean, you just feel the solidness and how tight it is. It's great. You know what? I got to talking there and I didn't even put my recoil spring back in, man. Come on, dummy. What are you doing? That was another thing, too, that I was going to bring up. Some guys out there, they like to run them. I'm not a real big fan of them. I don't think they really need them. But, I don't run a shock buff on this. And I'll tell you why. When you build up this area here, what that does is that takes away area from your slide coming back, and what it does is it also takes away area that you need to operate in order to throw and eject the shell. Okay. Now on light loads, you don't need a shock buff. On heavy ammunition that you're shooting 230 grain ball full strength, a shock buff is not a bad idea. But I have seen a lot of malfunctions because of those shock buffs. Guys just get too wound around the axle about, I gotta get a shock buff, I'm battering my slide. I'm like, dude, man, John Browning was smart, man. He was a smart dude, He had a lot going on. He wasn't any dummy, He knew what he was doing when he designed this gun. And I have yet, really, to see a 1911 wore out that way. You gotta kind of watch out because of the advertisements that are out there, for a lot of gizmos and gadgets, and you gotta have this or you gotta have that or whatever, or this works this way, that works that way. Man, I'll tell you what, this can be a bear. Okay, down we go. There we go. Now, do you see how tight? Did you see how tight that was for me to get that in there? That's what you want. That is exactly what you want. That's why I never take it out. Okay, put our guide rod back in. Now that's another thing too. Guys look at these guide rods as being somewhat of a gimmick. Maybe they're right. I look at it this way: it gives something for the spring to ride on. And it causes the spring not to compress and bow or do a bunch of weird stuff in there. Now, I just made the statement that John Browning was a smart guy, but you have to understand this was this pistol was originally intended for for war use, very hard use, and so they weren't really thinking about that. They just wanted function. Okay, now what I do. Take a little bit of my high dollar, okay. Now I bought this, I think I bought this like 5 years ago. And all I do is just fill it up with mineral oil. That's all I use, just mineral oil. That's all that's on there too, just mineral oil. That's all you need. That's all this stuff is anyway. And pull the slide back a little bit, get things kind of used to each other there. Feel that. You know, you just, guys, I'm telling you what, if you could just feel the way this gun feels in your hand when you work the slide back and forth, it's just like a vault. Now, like I said, you know, if you look at how many rounds have been through it, this is caused by somebody having their hand around it. You know, same way with a beaver tail. Oh, I mean with a grip safety. This one doesn't have a beaver tail grip safety. It just has a standard grip safety on it. And I find I can shoot this just fine without one. You know, people are saying, "Oh yeah, the beaver tail grip safety gets you more behind the gun and blah blah blah." You know, okay, if you need a beaver tail grip safety in order to make your gun, you know, more accurate, well, I don't know. I think that all just goes into the way that it feels for you, you know. But I'll tell you what, this is one of my babies. I mean, this gun will flat do it. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on here. Okay. Just keep everything moving smoothly. That's all you want. And now it's cleaned up. The gun is good for another 1,500 rounds. I'll tell you what, they don't make them like this no more. I don't know if the steel is different or what. It's just solid, you know. You even put a trigger shoe in there and everything. That's classic, you know. That's old school. Real wide trigger. That has a really nice feel to it when you let it off. I mean, you know. I mean, wow. Here's another thing too that Dick Shockey did. Excuse me, I hit the tripod. Dick Shockey on his hammers, what he did is he changed the angle and he reground where the sear engagement is on these. And what he did is he changed the geometry a little bit on the hammer. So when the hammer is cocked, okay, very, very little upward pressure is being put on it from the mainspring. Very little. All it's doing is just holding it there. So when you pull the trigger, that causes the mainspring to let go, okay? But it's not pushing against the sear engagement in there. And you can get a 45 down to like a 2-pound trigger pull, you know, safely by doing that if you know what you're doing. And old Dick Shockey knew what he was doing. Now this one here, it has to break at regulation. It can't be below 3.5 pounds. You know, if you're below 3.5 pounds in bullseye, you're breaking the rules. And if you go to a sanctioned event or something like that, they weigh the triggers. You know, they make sure that you're in the ballpark. Yeah, 4-pound triggers are on military guns. So anyway, so there we go. Thanks for tuning in. Just wanted to show you how to reassemble your 45 once you broke it down and cleaned it. You know, you field stripped it that way. You know, I don't want to get into a big discussion about greases. There's a million greases out there. Automotive grease works. Any type of grease works. And the reason why I recommend that you use grease is that grease deadens the blow of the snap. Okay, of everything going back together, it gives a little deadened blow to everything going together all at once. And, you know, that snap right there is what causes galling and it causes wear. And the grease is kind of a buffer between the steel. If that makes any sense to you, it helps everything seat together without causing any wear. So that's the reason why I grease up my rails. Like I said, automotive grease, I don't care. You can get Tetragun out there. Actually, Tetragun is real good. They make good products. But I found, just if you can get a can of this, you know, Lubriplate, just use it. Use it. It works fine. I mean, you know, same thing with mineral oil. Works fine. You know, $2. You can go ahead and get big old jar down there at Walmart for $2, mineral oil. That's all this is, mineral oil. They might put some sort of dye or some sort of, thing in it to make it look a little different, but other than that, it's the same stuff. Okay, well, anyway, this is Thor's Axe. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign out and get this uploaded. So, until the next video, I'm signing out.